Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing some tips with you guys about how I combat art block. I feel like this is something that we have all experienced as creatives. I think for most of us this past year has been a real challenge in remaining motivated and inspired when we're not able to get out and experience the inspirations and motivations that we're usually able to experience. For me personally, I know that this has been something that I've really struggled with over the past year and something that I'm still struggling with. So I thought that this would be a really good opportunity for me to talk about some of the things that I've found helpful myself in trying to combat art block and getting over art block. I'm still in the midst of an art block at the moment, but I'm hoping that through sharing some ideas with you guys and starting up a conversation in the comments that we can encourage each other and inspire each other to keep going in this time. Before I get into the topic of the video, I just thought I'd quickly share with you guys what I'm going to be painting today. I decided to do a sketchbook page of a still life, some different still life images from Unsplash, and I kind of cobbled them all together on this page just to loosen myself up a bit. And I also experimented with a different colour palette. I do usually use ultramarine within my work, but I don't often use yellow and orange, so this was quite like a new combination of colours for me, so I was just trying to push myself a bit in that area as well. So yes, let's get into the topic of the video. Art block. As I previously mentioned, I've been going through an art block recently, and pretty much, to be honest, for the past year. It's kind of fluctuated from time to time, but I'm definitely at a bit of a creative slump. I just thought I would share some of the things that I've been doing to try and combat this art block and feel inspired again. I have 6 tips for you. So starting with number 1, which seems like a bit of a cliche piece of advice, but it is to take a break. I know for myself, I have really high expectations on what I can produce in a day and in a week. Often this is what cripples me. I also really struggle with perfectionism, and this is often something that hinders my creativity. But I usually find that if I'm feeling lost for ideas and feeling stressed about my art, it's often a sign that I need to take a break. So I really recommend taking a break for an amount of time that seems suitable for you and the situation that you're in. This is something that I've really noticed has helped me. Something I've done recently is spend a bit less time on Instagram, and this has been, I guess, part of me taking a break. I find that when I'm constantly consuming new artwork, I end up just feeling really overwhelmed and like I'm lagging behind everybody and like I need to keep up with this race. I'm not saying this is anyone else's fault. This is just my own perception of, I guess, where everyone else is at and where I'm at, and it's a purely personal thing and a part of my personal journey. So I just decided to take a little bit of a step back from Instagram for the month of January and the beginning of this month, but I'm starting to feel like I'm ready to be uploading a bit more regularly on there. But take a break in whatever way works best for you and whatever fits your situation. And my second piece of advice would be to look for inspiration outside of your usual sources. And obviously this is within the restrictions of COVID-19. Do be making sure that you're staying safe and keeping others around you safe as well. So with this, looking for inspiration outside of your usual source, this could look like taking a walk rather than scrolling on Pinterest, or listening to music or watching a film rather than scrolling on Instagram. I can actually recommend some really good films and bands that I've been really enjoying recently, if that'd be helpful for you guys. So some good films that I found to be really inspiring recently have been the Studio Ghibli films on Netflix. I have seen Studio Ghibli films in the past, but they're just films that are so visually stimulating and beautiful, and the music that accompanies the animation is absolutely stunning as well. So I really recommend watching those. Another really great film that always inspires me, both visually and musically as well, is Amelie. It's actually a French film, but it does have English subtitles, but I don't think that's actually on Netflix. It might be on Amazon Prime or Now TV or something, but I really recommend watching that film. It's probably one of my favourite films. Another really good film that is just really beautiful and wholesome and heartwarming is The Secret Garden. You can find that on Netflix as well. I also really recommend watching documentaries, whether themed on creativity or not. I often find that becoming informed on pop culture or politics is something that really influences me and can often encourage a creative outburst. Some documentaries that I've been really enjoying recently on Netflix are Abstract, which is an art and design documentary, and they have different episodes around different artists and their art practices and their creative practices, and yeah, I just really recommend that one. And also Our Planet, which is one of the latest David Attenborough documentaries, which is just fantastic as well, so really recommend those. And some music that I've been really enjoying is Massive Attack, Little Dragon and Hiatus Coyote. These are all bands that I've been listening to for a really long time, but their music just really ignites creativity within me, and there's so much depth to their music, so I really recommend listening to all of those artists if you feel like you want to listen to something you've not listened to before. Maybe you have heard of all of these artists, maybe just delve into some artists that you find inspiring or have found inspiring in the past. My third tip, which may seem a little bit controversial, but believe me, it is definitely a step forward in combating art block, and that is to force yourself to create. I feel like the word force has negative connotations, but for me that means creating even when I don't feel like it. And you can do this in ways that are less harsh on yourself and are still ways of nurturing your creativity and nurturing yourself without just stopping creating completely. For me, that actually looks like creating a still life like I am in this video, or painting a landscape. These are just subject matters that I find really come naturally to me and my creative process, and are subject matters that I find that I can really relax while I'm creating. Maybe that looks different to you. Maybe you like painting portraits and that's, I guess, your safety zone and your comfort zone within your art, or maybe it's animals. Either way, try just creating things that don't take too much thought and keep persevering and pushing through, and eventually you will find something that inspires you. Maybe it's a mark that you put down or a different material that you use. My fourth tip would be to take part in online drawing challenges. This could just be a challenge that you do over the course of a week, or it could be a yearly drawing challenge or a monthly drawing challenge. It could be anything that inspires you. There are so many drawing challenges on Instagram: Inktober, Mermaid, Draw This in Your Style, so many different things that you can find on there. So if you just use the hashtag art challenge or drawing challenge, I'm sure there'd be so many things that you can find on there. My fifth piece of advice would be to listen to podcasts. This is something that I absolutely love to do whilst I'm drawing and painting, particularly creative podcasts that inspire and motivate. I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but for me personally, this is something that I find really encouraging and motivating. Some podcasts that I really recommend for when you're going through a creative block are the Creative Pep Talk podcast, which is hosted by the lovely Andy J. Pizza. He is fantastic and just such an encouraging, inspiring creative. Also the Drawing Club podcast, which is hosted by Mia Minerva and Sasha Kretova. Their podcast is really relaxing and soothing to listen to. And then a really recent discovery of mine is the Creative Catch-Up podcast, which is actually hosted by one of my favourite artists on Instagram, Natasha Newton. Her work is just stunning. She does beautiful landscapes and nature paintings that are like inspired by folklore, and her work is just stunning. She just has such a beautiful outlook on creativity and art, so really recommend those. And my sixth piece of advice is actually inspired by another of my favourite artists, and that is Fran, who is known as Franerd on Instagram and YouTube. And she gives a really good piece of advice to keep an ugly sketchbook. I think we have such a pressure, especially as artists who share their work online, to have everything looking pristine and perfect. And I think this is such an unnatural way of working for artists. I think some of the best artwork that I've created has come from making a real mess and making big mistakes and finding really good solutions to problems, and just really experimenting with different materials. And I think having an ugly sketchbook is something that could really grow us as creatives and help us to avoid feeling restrained and limited by, I guess, society's view of what is acceptable and aspirational artwork. So I found having an ugly sketchbook a really freeing place for me to just explore in my creativity. In the sketchbook, I really recommend just loosening up, play with different colour palettes, different colour combinations that maybe you haven't explored before. Just make a mess and be okay with making a mess. Just like smush the paint around, be experimental with the different materials you use. I would say just have fun, and I think the moment we start having fun, things start to get easier and feel less serious and anxiety inducing. And I just wanted to end these tips with just a little encouragement for you guys, just to say, take heart. Feelings are fleeting. We all experience ups and downs in our lives, and as artists, feelings change and come and go all the time. The fact that you have been inspired in the past and now feel uninspired is a sign that you're going to feel inspired again. If you felt that feeling of inspiration and have experienced being inspired, you will feel that again. Your feelings are just temporary, and they will evolve and change as you grow and evolve as a person and as an artist. Wow, this has got really, really deep. I absolutely love a DMC, so apologies if this has got a bit too deep for your liking, but I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and found it insightful and helpful. I've really enjoyed chatting with you about this because I think it's a topic that is so close to home for so many people at the moment. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a like. It really, really helps me out, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me. And I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye.